Hi guys, it's Granny Tana speaking. Welcome to this FS25 news video. We got this image on Twitter and other social media platforms. Giants posted this image, so this is official, and it says your farm, your shop, and new small farmers kiosk. Do you call it kiosk? Such a thing? Yeah, please write it in the comments below. Usually I would speak of something like a market stall or a tiny farm shop or something like that. But if it's a kiosk, it's nice. In Germany, kiosks are considered different. So it's still a small, very, very small shop, but not for vegetables, more for beer. And sweets for the kids. Okay, so, yeah, we see two different, very interesting things on this image, and I'm very excited about it. So the first thing, the obvious thing, is it shows us this small, what I call market stall, where you can sell your own stuff. So this is for self-marketing your farm products. And I'm really happy about this, that this comes to the base game, because I always thought on this and I made quite a lot of market stalls and my farm shop and so on and so forth, because I think it's important. It's a very important part of farming in our days, because to sell your stuff to all the big companies doesn't pay your bills anymore, and so you have to be inventive and sell your stuff on your farm or close to your farm or at the market in the town and so. Yeah, and I really like this. And what I especially like about this market stall, it's not just a selling station, but it is more, the boxes and baskets, they fill up when you bring your stuff there. So you just bring your stuff and then it fills up with the fruit types that you bring there. So if you only bring spinach, all the baskets and boxes will be full of spinach. And that's how I understand it. And for me it looks like as if you only bring a little bit, then it fills up only a little bit, and if you go to the limit of the storage of this market stall, then it fills up completely. And then you get the money slowly by slowly, and not in one instance, like with a normal selling station. And I guess we still will have normal selling stations, but those will be an additional possibility. That's how I understand it. But they didn't said it like that officially. They didn't show us other selling stations, but I'm sure there will be normal selling stations and those. Yeah, and I'm very excited about this. Maybe you know my mod, the farm shop, where I tried to simulate something like that. It works with the mechanism of the production, that you bring your stuff and deliver it, and then you start a production chain with this, and this production chain sells the stuff, and like in the greenhouses, the products show up that you brought there. So I tried to mimic what we will get as an official feature now in the base game. So this is awesome. However, there is something what I don't like so much, but we'll come to this later in this video. the other thing is, scattered around this market stall are icons. And as is more or less obvious, those icons are the fruit types or some of the fruit types that you can sell at this market stall. And maybe at the farmer's market also. We already saw it, but then the boxes and baskets were still empty. They hadn't implemented it yet. And yeah, so I guess it won't be possible to sell all kinds of stuff in such market stalls. And I heard someone from Giants saying, but I don't remember who it was, that in these type of selling stations you won't be able to sell as much as you want, but only to a certain amount, smaller amounts. And so for small marketing your stuff yourself. And so maybe at one time they will only take, let's say here what we have, carrots, parsnips, grapes, spinach, and so on and so forth. And we see some icons that we already know. We have the carrots and the parsnips, and we have the grapes, for example, and the spinach. Those are fruit types that we can grow on the fields or the orchards for the grapes, and then we can maybe sell them in those market stalls. That's how I understand it. Then we have the strawberry and the tomato, and we know we can grow them in the greenhouses in FS22. And then there come 3 icons that are new to FarmSim. We have those chilies or peppers, and are the peppers the small one that are sharp, or are the peppers the big one? I have heard the word bell pepper or so, that is the big one. And the small one, I think with chilies, I'm on the secure or on the safe side. Please tell me about how to call those sharp, small red things that burn your tongue when you eat them. Yeah, and then on the other hand, on the right side, we see something like fresh onions or spring onions also. It's not the usual type of onions, but more this fresh thin thingy with a lot of green. And we have mushrooms. So as far as I know, we never had mushrooms as a sellable product in FarmSim. We had them as decoration in the forest, but not as product. And as we already know which fruit types will come to the fields, I think those 3 fruit types or fill types will come to the greenhouses. Because for the fields, they were rather clear about that. We will get 5 of them. And so it's the 2 types of rice, then the spinach, and then, which is not yet announced, but everybody knows about it, because people saw it at Gamescom and PAX East. They saw the peas and the green beans. So those are the 5 new fruit types that comes to grow on the fields. And that's it. So we won't see those little chilies on our fields, but to be able to sell them, we need to grow them, and therefore I think they will come to the greenhouses. And I'm excited about it. I'm very excited about it. because maybe you know my garden mod, I tried to bring more variety to the greenhouses, or I made it as an open air garden. And yeah, and I added something like potatoes and soybeans and such. And for me, it was completely clear that when I bring this mod in to FS25, which is a plan, I want to add carrots and parsnips and red beets and spinach and green beans and peas. And now we can also be happy about chilies and spring onions and mushrooms. This is awesome. I really, really like it. And I'm very excited about this. And for me, it shows that, or it shows again, this is not the first time that we can see this happen, that Giants takes inspiration from what the players want and what the modders deliver during the life cycle of a game. And so with my garden and my farm shop, I didn't invent this functionality. In nearly every garden, people grow their potatoes. So it was not my invention that I put potatoes in the garden, only as one example. And other modders, they brought melons and red lettuce and quite a lot of different stuff to the gardens or the greenhouses. And they didn't invent this. They just took an obvious idea and people loved it. They play a lot with it. My garden mods got nearly 1 million downloads. And I'm sure other garden mods as well. And so Giants is somehow really listening to the players and to the modders, and I really, really like it. The same with the farm shop idea. This, I don't only want to deliver my stuff at a big grain mill harbor station where I just dump my stuff, get my money and get rid of everything, but I want to have this small scale self-marketing part of farming. And yeah, they are doing it. I think it's amazing. And so we modders have to be a little bit inventive to bring even more good ideas to the game now that we have this in the base game. I think it's fantastic. And it, for me, I feel like inspired to go one more step further. So with my garden mod and with my farm shop, I went one step further, one step ahead of the base game. And now it comes to the base game, and so now I have to think about, okay, what can I do to make my garden mod still very, very interesting for people to play? And so it's amazing. Now let's make it a little bit bigger. The quality of the image is not so good, sadly. So I only have this version from Twitter, and I scaled it up and sharpened it, but it still looks not so good. Yeah, so we can see this new fruit types, this chilies, and at the left side and on the right side the spring onions and the mushrooms, and in the center we see this filling of the baskets and boxes. And it looks like as if it's just a so-called fill plane. So they have a plane that is not completely straight, but a little bit with a little hill. And then they put a texture on it, depending on what should be in it. And the same happens if you fill up your trailer. Then first this fill plane is very small, and it grows and grows and grows, and it gets a little bit hilly, and what you can see is a texture of wheat or a texture of barley or grapes or whatsoever is in this trailer. You can see as a kind of image that is put on this fill plane. And the same is when you dump stuff to the ground, and so forth. And here they take the same mechanism, which is basic standard mechanism in the gaming industry. And so if it's empty, this fill plane is hidden. We also have it in the water troughs and in the food troughs for the animals, the same principle. And when you fill it up, it rises a little bit, and it rises more and more until it's full. And what you can see is an image, a texture of what it should present. And so we see this in the box in the front. We see the texture of this spring onions, and on top of this, I think from the color it looks like the olive texture. I know this olive texture because I worked with it for my farm shop. And at the right side it is something orange browny. I don't know what it is, maybe carrots. And then at the left side down there at the ground, it is red and maybe tomatoes, and everything looks not completely flat, a little bit shaped, but you don't see tomatoes and you don't see carrots and such. And this is somehow sad, because yeah, you could say it's not state of the art to do it like that. And when I talked to Florian Busse at FarmCon, we talked about exactly that. And he said right now they are planning to do it with fill planes, but he was not quite happy with it. And he was hoping that they find a solution to make it better, to make it look better. That for grain it's totally okay with the fill plane, but for tomatoes you expect to see tomato shapes at least on top. And then I told him how I did it with my farm shop, and I had something like this fill plane underneath, and then on top some shapes with tomatoes, and on the other box we had shapes with potatoes and so on. And that is possible because I made a dedicated object for every fill type that can be sold in such a shop, in a farm shop. The disadvantage is with my solution, you can't see that it grows. So the box is either there or filled or not, or empty, or doesn't exist at all, is completely gone. And I'm sure they wanted to show in this thing that it fills up. And that is not how it works with my farm shop, for example. I don't have the mechanism to let it fill up and still have the tomatoes on top, or the potatoes, or whatsoever. I had for the butter, I have had boxes with butter, so it looks completely different than tomatoes, for example. And yeah, I guess they didn't found a solution that is friendly enough for the performance to show up fruits or roots for the carrots and the parsnips or so. So everything that has more shape than a grain, that you can really see it as a shape. I'm sure you could program it, that it still fills up, goes up and down and so, and you have potatoes looking like potatoes and so on. But maybe that would be very complicated and would be terrible for the performance. I can really imagine it, that this could be a problem if you really wanted to go up and down according to the fill state. And yeah, then maybe that's why they still have just fill planes. And I'm expecting that a lot of people who understand the difference of a nicely filled box with vegetables or so, or fruits, and on the one hand, on the other hand, this fill plain stuff, there will be complaints, a lot of complaints. And I can understand those complaints, but on the other hand, I think they did their best and they tried their best, and maybe it's due to performance reasons that they stick to this fill type thing, fill plane thing. And what I know is that at least one important worker of Giants is not happy with the fill plane. So it's not something where all Giants workers say, oh, this is nice and fine. No, it's not. They tried to make it better. Yeah, and maybe we have to live with it, and then in FS28 they find a better solution, or we all have stronger PCs and consoles and that can handle this. Or maybe they surprise me, and the next image about this will be with tomatoes with a shape and carrots with a shape. We will see. But I don't think that, because yeah, when we first saw an image of this market stall, the boxes were empty, and now they are showing it filled. And yeah, I don't think they would show us this image when they have a solution for this fill plane problem around the corner. Then they would have waited, then they would have told the marketing department, no, we are not ready yet, but next week we can show you tomatoes on the fill planes. I think so. Or maybe they thought nobody will see it because the image is small. But I already saw several people who were complaining about this. So yeah, I stay curious about what happens. I won't complain about it, but I see that this is not a perfect solution, but maybe the best that we can get. And I'm looking forward extremely to the chili, spring onions and mushrooms. And I'm more and more excited to build my own gardens and greenhouses with ever more fruit types. It will be a really rich garden in the future. Amazing. So tell me, what do you think about this? And if you are still there, I talked about fill planes. I guess most of you thought, oh, this Granny Tana, she is always so much into this modding stuff and these details. But for me, it's a really interesting and exciting topic to see those things, think about it, and talk about it. And that's why you get such a long video from me about this small image. Okay, I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you for watching and all the best. Till next time. Tschüss.